Next on This Week in NASCAR, the night they drove Old Dixie down and all the flags were flying.
Caution on the speedway. That's 15.
And the teams were hearing.
Caution's out. 20 got it. The blue left to tire.
But the birthday boy sang.
Big second, baby! Woo!
Winning number 3. We'll go back in time with the Southern 500.
In 1950, Darlington International Raceway came into existence. The Southern 500 of that year marked the birth of the super speedway for NASCAR.
And get you ready for its triumphant return.
Lady in Black, very unforgiving.
Stand up and cheer. This Week in NASCAR covers the field like no other. This Week in NASCAR is brought to you by Geico.
15%.
Hey, glad you're with us here on Speed on a Monday night. Steve Burns alongside Chad Canals, and Michael One Pack Waltrip is with us.
Yes, I had a revelation today, Steve. I've been working out a lot, and you know, you hear a six-pack abs. I was standing in front of the mirror, and I'm like, hey, what's that down there? I had my first pack. I'm a one pack.
Well, tell us about your workout Saturday night at Richmond.
Man, I'm so happy about the performance and the progression of the car. We started in the back, got a lap down, made it up, and just felt like we could run with them. You know, we improved our car all night, but at the end, when it came time to get with it, I was too loose. And we had a competition meeting earlier today discussing what Marcus's car did. A great run by Marcus Ambrose again, 11th place finish, got in a crash and still was able to persevere. Me, Marcos, and David talked about our cars, and I just like where we are as a team. The meetings are productive, we learn from each other, and I think we're heading in a good direction at MWR.
You mentioned David. David Rudiman finished 28th after starting 9th. Great top 10 qualifying effort. For you guys, you had no brakes. Literally.
That wasn't a joke. That was the truth.
Yes.
Unfortunately, yeah, no brakes. You know, it's very rare that we have any type of mechanical issue with any of our departments at Hendrick Motorsports, whether that be in the engine, the gear and the transmission, the running gear of the car, whatever it may be. And unfortunately, we had a brake line that got severed. And it was leaking the fluid. And about 150 some laps into the race, Jimmy came on the radio and he's like, losing pressure on my brake pedal. And I'm like, oh, well, make sure your brake fans are on, all that kind of stuff. And he's like, no. He said, they're not hot. And I was like, yeah, I know they're not. I was just trying, you know. And it was just brake fluid. And Ron Malik did a great job. We came down pit road. We capped off the left front brake line, filled the brake reservoir up with fluid. He bled the right front caliper, and we only lost 3 laps. While doing that. So we were still in a good position to get a respectable finish, but unfortunately it just didn't pan out for us.
Now, when you say you severed a line, now you something kicked up off the track and cut it?
No.
Or you had an issue?
It was
the way it was
improperly placed.
Right.
And unfortunately it got pinched between 2 suspension components. And it's something that just really doesn't typically happen to us, but it just was
every now and then
poor execution.
Pinch one off, so it's tough.
All right. Thank you, One Pack. Our man Biff, Greg Biff, will finish 17th. Here's what he had to say after the race.
Well, a tough week for the Roush Fenway cars here at Richmond. Off just a little bit again, another short track. Just not getting a good grasp on it. 17th, you know, qualified 20th, so just kind of an average day. Keep working on it, see if we can't get any better.
And we'll see the Biff here next weekend. Now, of course, guys, Kyle Busch. By the way, I thought about you this morning. Do you have all your Busch sayings, like you can't, if it's not one Busch, it's another,
right,
or you can't beat the Bushes?
Right.
Do you have any more? You're going to empty the bucket?
No, I think I'll just have to see how the show progresses and where I get with it.
Sounds to me like he's beating around the bush.
But here's what I will tell you. I say this every now and then. I might say it more than I should. I've been doing this a long time. This is my 25th season, and I've seen a lot of people come and a lot of people go. But I don't think I've ever seen, and I hope this is fair, I don't think I've ever seen the enthusiasm or the desire to run every lap like that young man does. He runs every lap like it's the last lap. He will not settle for following someone no matter what. And he's good enough to get away with it. You know, we've seen other people come along like, oh, I got it, but they run into everything.
Yeah.
He is genuinely special. So when you're watching the NASCAR races, whether you like them or not, enjoy what you're watching, because it doesn't always mean championship. You win championships. Sure. You and Jimmy have done an awesome job in this era of being the best of the best. But darn, it's fun to watch that cat go, isn't it?
I love watching him. I do. It's fun to race with him. He's a great race car driver. He's got amazing skill sets. But to watch him, like, I love watching the nationwide races just to watch him, because you don't know what he's going to do.
What's fun for me, and you know, I'm old. It makes me want to try harder. I'm like, I could still do what he does. I'm going to go get what he's got. And I just really appreciate what that kid does.
Think about the numbers, though, and I hate talking about numbers all the time, but he's 24 years old. He's already got 15 Cup wins, 50 in NASCAR's top 3 series.
And he made a statement. He made a statement this week. He wanted to win 200 in the 3, and I think that's awesome. You know, I have started a lot of races, and I'm proud of that, because it meant that I was always there every week, willing to go and wanting to hit it hard. He wants to win that many races, and I'm really impressed that he made that. He set that goal. He said he wanted to win 200 races in the 3 series. Yeah. I think he's got a shot at doing just that. And just remember, you talk about numbers. There's 3 kinds of people in this world. The kinds that count and the kinds that can't count.
You said 3. I thought you said there's 3 kinds of people.
Why do we even do this?
Speaking of numbers, let's look at points. I thought you said there's 3 kinds of people in this world.
Well, that means I must be one of the second.
The other.
Right. My fault.
It's all right.
Look at these numbers. These are good numbers. You've got to be able to count to understand this. What a great battle for the lead in the championship standings. And Chad, Jimmy's fallen to 5th after y'all's Saturday night. What do you tell me? What do you think about points at this moment? 151 off the lead, but it looks like just about 100 out of the chase. Yeah. Is that a concern for you?
Yeah, right now we're kind of right in the middle. We're about 150 points out of 13th, which obviously that's the cutoff. And right now we're pushing hard to make sure that we complete the laps, run the miles, run consistently, and stay up front. I mean, we've had great race cars, fast race cars every single week. I can't think of one race that we really didn't have a car that was capable of running in the top 15, top 10. And you know, many race cars were more than capable of winning races that we've just really not executed properly. So we're just trying to get our consistency down.
Michael, here's a number for you. Kyle Busch has led 657 laps this year.
That's why I told you he doesn't like anybody being in front of him. And I watched that. You can see the Napa car right behind us there. He and Brian Vickers got in an argument.
Coming up, the winner of the very first Southern 500 won by 9 laps. Do you know who it was? We've got the answer coming up.
This Week in NASCAR is presented by Geico, where 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And brought to you in part by Z-Max, performance you can feel.
Before we get into the highlights, we're going to change things up a little bit and start with Radioactive. Now, on the 9th caution of the race, lap 284, Jeff Gordon said to Steve Letarte and the rest of the crew, guys, I appreciate the great stop last time, but we are way off. And at the time, he was leading. Let's take a listen to the rest of Radioactive.
Radio check 1 2. 10-4, got you. Check 1 2. I got you there. You got me okay? Got a copy. 10-4.
Short track racing can produce some amazing results sometimes. That's one of the reasons so many people come out to Richmond. Anybody really could win this thing.
Have a good, smooth day in here. You guys are doing a great job. We'll keep up the great work. 400 laps, bud. Let's go get them tonight.
Have fun. Take care of it all night here. Do it one round at a time. See what the weather does and caution falls. Have fun.
Green flag goes in the air, and we are underway.
Now Kyle Busch gets a shove for Brian Vickers.
Go tell NASCAR to take care of that before I do. Never touched him, thank you.
Here's Busch, he's shoving Vickers. Contact, and both of them go on the bank.
One of the keys to racing is to save your car, keep the brakes good, particularly here at Richmond.
Pedal's going to the floor. It's not stopping. I think you're going to be out of front brake. It looks like it's leaking out of the left front line or something like that, bud.
Jimmy Johnson's in trouble. The 48 car.
0 brakes, man. I had to throw it in there to spin out.
Trouble right here on the front straightaway. Remy turned Edwards around, and McMurray spins into his teammate.
Is that guy like to wreck people?
That was ridiculous.
Can you believe they never parked the 12? He does that stuff every week.
He stayed in it right there to turn the 99 as well.
Got trouble in turn 2. It is Marcus Ambrose. And Ambrose is round hard into the wall.
You know, I'm pretty vulnerable here. I've done my best to wreck this car on you. So, I'm trying to bring it home from you.
And around goes Mark Martin. Mark Martin spins right in front of half the field.
39 got us there, turned us. How bad is it? I don't think it hurts that bad.
I think I got it right in front going down. I can't tell. I hit the 5 hard.
It is not down.
Just the marbles then.
It's fine, buddy. Just clean it off. It's fine.
Tell the 5 I'm sorry, but I got hit from behind harder than I hit him.
Everybody's getting physical at this point of the race at Richmond, and the battle for the lead is on. Kyle Busch is there. He'll complete the pass.
God, it's nice to have a motor like that.
Meanwhile, Kyle Busch is waving bye-bye to the field.
All right, man. Here it is. Wait. Flash.
Never thought I'd hear you say such a sweet thing.
Fans on their feet watching Kyle Busch flash by them on his way to Gatorade Victory Lane.
You guys are awesome. Happy birthday, dude. That was freaking awesome. May 2nd, baby. Woo! Thank you.
Kyle Busch wins the Crown Royal 400 at Richmond on his birthday.
You just have to live it, people. Just appreciate being able to listen in and see what the race car drivers and the teams are dealing with. I mean, that's live. That's happening right now. And I just think that makes our sport special, that you can turn in to Kyle Busch's radio and hear what he's got to say and listen to these teams and drivers work together. Hear a lot of frustration out of the drivers. I mean, tight quarters on the track. And then the crew chief, you trying to keep everything calm, sort of.
Tried.
Well, that was my point about Jeff Gordon. There was so much emotion. He's like, the car wants to go straight, and he was actually leading. I told Steve Letarte, I said, you've done a good job keeping him calm down.
Yeah, it's difficult because when you're in the heat of the battle trying to get everything you can, and it's not just the drivers. It's like Mikey said, the crew chiefs, the pit crews, everybody trying to get everything they can every moment of that race. It's difficult. It's very frustrating when the smallest thing goes wrong. Obviously, you saw the 18 and the 83 there got into a slugfest. Obviously, Vickers did something that didn't make Kyle very happy. So that happens repeatedly, whether it's on pit road or on the racetrack, the whole event.
You know how embarrassed I am that I just now figured out that joke, 3 kinds of people?
There are 3 kinds of people in this world, those that can count and those that can't. And you're one of those ones that can't get a good joke.
Thanks for not laughing at me. But I can lead to the highlights. Let's take a look at some of the action from Saturday night under the lights. Denny Hamlin shows he has a very good car. And Chad, I would imagine a lot of people looking at that 11 as a pre-race favorite.
He had, hometown, very fast in practice. And man, he was really good early. And then unfortunately they had a bad pit stop and some lug nuts fell off a wheel and he just kind of fell back and couldn't recover. I don't know what the whole reason was there.
Just saw some contact between Martin Truex and Robbie Gordon.
Whoops.
That 83 car was loose all night long. He just couldn't keep up with the pace and got a lap down, made it up, and got a decent finish.
Lap 167, David Stremme, we heard that during Radioactive. He gets into Carl Edwards. Jamie McMurray gets collected too in that incident. And there was a lot of that.
Jamie got 2 free passes and came back with a top 10 finish.
And that's the danger of having teammates right there. You hate to see it when your teammate's spinning and you're anywhere in the vicinity because sure as heck you're going to catch them. And that's a big problem. And the Roush guys got together there last fall. I think the 6 car spun out and collected the 16. So that's one of those racetracks where it doesn't take a whole lot and somebody can get caught up in a mess.
McMurray came back and finished 7th. Now, again, we saw and heard during Radioactive, Jimmy Johnson goes around. And what are you thinking there, Chad, as you watch it?
Oh, I was pretty sad, actually. That was a sad moment. We knew that we had no brakes at that point. Jimmy was actually doing a really good job, and he drove it into the corner underneath the 34, and he couldn't get the speed scrubbed off the car. So as the car was rolling through there, he just had to cut the wheel and spin the car out, otherwise he was going to hit the wall. And at that point, he was able to stay on the lead lap and did a very good job right there. We were able to circle around, stay in front of the leaders, and then come in to make the repairs to the car.
When you and I chatted before the race Saturday, you said that you had actually made a lot of changes before the race. Why? Was that part of just attacking the race, or are you thinking about the chase in September? What was your thought process?
Yeah, we were going through a lot of different things. Obviously, the key is to learn as much as you can at this point in the season to prep yourself for the end of the year. And we were trying a couple of different things, nothing too obscure, but we made a lot of changes, a lot of small changes just to try to get some things figured out. And man, the car was fast. It really was. And I wish we'd had an opportunity to show exactly how strong the car was. But we're always just trying to find some things. So when we get there in the fall, we've got a package that we're comfortable with. with. And I think that we've got that.
And you had to feel pretty good about the forecast. Looked like it might have rained it out.
Man, we were getting close.
You were gonna.
We were getting close.
That brake line would have never gotten crimped on
Not on Sunday.
Not gonna happen.
No, it'd have been fine. Hey, don't forget next Monday night, Michael, Chad, and the Biff in here as we talk about Darlington, the Saturday night race, and get ready for All-Star Madness. We'll also have a studio audience.
Yeah,
once again.
Oh, yeah.
They brought us all in because we're going to have a live audience.
Man, that's
here
awesome.
At Speed.
That's next Monday at 8 o'clock. Well, coming up, more highlights. Denny Hamlin's day went away in the pits. We'll talk about that. Kyle Busch swept the weekend. A look at the nationwide highlights coming up. Darlington has tons of history, and the track is going old school for Saturday night's race. Stick around to see what we're talking about.
Got over it.
This Week in NASCAR is brought to you by Geico. You want a picture of Kyle Busch? You can win this very picture. To enter the Picture of the Week giveaway, go to speedtv.com, click the Shows tab at the top, and go to the This Week in NASCAR page. You'll see a link at the bottom of the page to email us. Put combos in the subject line, and you'll be entered to win. Be sure to put your shipping address in the email. The winner will be revealed next week. The Brad Keselowski picture went to Minnesota.
And that's the way Kyle Busch wins them, in combos. He gets him one on Saturday night. He gets him one on Friday night. You know?
He's undefeated in the combos car, by the way.
And he won on his birthday. The only other driver to ever win on their birthday?
Timmonsville, South Carolina's Cale Yarborough.
How many times did he do it?
Twice.
Exactly.
Jeez.
Come on, a combo.
Next.
Can I get the clip notes on the show next time? So I got the answers, but you didn't get the joke.
I didn't.
No. How many people are in this world, Steve?
Two kinds. All right, time for the Castrol smart move of the race. It's going to go to Dale Earnhardt Jr. 3 wide right there, boys. Jr. says, go ahead.
You can have it. And you know, there are times, whether you're Kyle Busch, Dale Jr., or me, there's no future in putting yourself in a position like that. Dale Jr. recognized that.
Right there, Jr. said,
reckon. He said reckon.
Recognized it. Through his spotter, Dale Earnhardt Jr. said, sorry, Jeff Burton, didn't mean to do it.
Where did Jeff Burton finish? Like, how many people spun out?
Third.
What about Marcus Ambrose back to 11th after a crash?
McMurray came back.
Burton to 3rd, McMurray to 7th.
Burton said his car ran better after he got spun out.
Well, that's driver adjustment.
Driver comfort.
That's right. One time I hit the wall, and I called my crew chief. I said, this car's driving terrible. He said, you adjusted it last, so just drive it.
So you put the crew chief pants on and walked down that path, didn't you?
Let's get on down that road one day if you want to.
Time for that Geico Greatest Pit Crew, and that's going to go to Ryan Newman's bunch, the 39 team. They had a 2-tire call. That got them out first. And Chad, I saw a lot of different strategy, 2 tires, 4 tires.
There were, and this is one of those racetracks that you can do that. You know, tires were really making a difference on speed, and I think we saw that, especially at the end of the race. But if you've got the guts to go ahead and pull it off, you can do it. Now, one thing that's really becoming a determining factor of just about every single race is the consistency of these pit crews. If you don't have a pit crew that can give you solid pit stops all race long, there's not any chance in the world that you're going to stay up through the whole race. It's really bad right now.
Is it right there? In fact, Denny Hamlin came in first, went out 8th. Chad, I got to ask you, is it the pressure to be fast? Is it that the longer lug stud? What is it?
It's a combination of a lot of things, and quite frankly, it all started with the longer stud length that NASCAR has mandated us run now. It's about twice as long as what we used to run as teams and as pit crews for the changers to get the nuts on. So it's a little bit of an issue there, but the biggest problem is, quite honestly, psychological. A lot of these tire changers and tire carriers are going over the wall thinking there's already a problem. And man, we've got to try to overcome this problem. So we got to try to go faster. And the faster we go, the better we're going to be. Well, in all actuality, what typically happens is the faster you try to go, the more mistakes you make. So, and we're just seeing that up and down pit road. So if the guys would just back off a notch, we'd probably be a little bit better off.
And I will agree with that somewhat, but then I'll also say it's preparation. You know, those nuts, when you put the wheel up on those studs, when they fall off, that doesn't have a whole lot to do with anxiety or your mental attitude. It has to do how well that glue sealed to that nut that was on the wheel. So these teams, you have to make sure at the shop during the week, not only are the crews trying to change those tires and practice that, they're also trying to, your people are saying, what if we glue it an hour before? What if we glue it an hour and a half before? What do we do to make sure, to ensure that these nuts don't fall off the wheel? That's all part of it as well.
For those of you that don't understand exactly what it is he's talking about, what we do is we take the lug nut and we put a bead of weather strip adhesive around the outer edge of the lug nut, and we stick it to the wheel. And what happens is when you push the wheel onto the hub, it actually pulls and stretches the glue away from the wheel, and that's what holds the lug nut onto the stud. And we've had problems with that.
Right.
Sometimes it's too brittle and it breaks off, sometimes it's too soft
and that's what happened to Denny there. And that didn't really have anything to do with other than the way those lug studs were glued. And do you put this is how technical it gets. Do you put a 10-pound weight on that nut to make sure it sticks properly, or do you put a 5-pound weight? So there's so many things that go into these pit stops that have to be scienced out to the nth degree.
Well, thanks for clearing that up. Are you and Larry McReynolds going to do that on NASCAR Performance, or have
I don't know. I just thought about that. That'd be a great segment. Watch this Saturday night. It might be good.
Conference call tomorrow morning. Tell Larry.
It's not Saturday. It's Saturday morning at 3 o'clock, I believe. Watch here on Speed.
And for those of you that didn't understand what I was saying,
3 in the afternoon.
For those of you that didn't understand what I was saying earlier, that you're not in a small group. There's a lot of people that don't understand.
No, Chad can count.
Whatever.
Chad can count. All right, Joey Logano, he gets into our boy Greg Biffle.
Oh, no, look at Greg.
Oh.
Trouble for the Biff.
We raced close together, though. You know, Joey just slipped a little bit. That looked a whole lot like me getting into 3 at Phoenix and Robbie Gordon. You know, same result, same thing. It's very, very easy to have happen.
Yeah. What's going on back there?
That is Sam Hornish Jr. and Kevin Harvick.
Uh-oh.
Did it blow Kevin's tire? That's what happens so often, too.
Really hurt those guys in the points.
Oh, he's back in. He's with me.
That really hurt those guys. They're going to have to get their stuff together to overcome that.
We're next door to each other.
All right.
We're 23-4.
Wow.
And that's a chase team every year. And I'm obviously not having a great year, and that just goes to show you how tight it is and how tough it is to be a part of the chase. And you talked about it. You're so fortunate to be up in the middle of it. But darn, a couple of races, you could be out.
Absolutely.
Jimmy Johnson.
Let's move ahead now. Sam Hornish, who had a great night, top 10 finish, gets into Marcus Ambrose. There's the 77 into the 47. Both cars running in the top 10. Unfortunately, Marcos hits the wall.
The thing, perseverance, though, that team did not give up and came back for a great run.
Sprint monster moment right here. Big mess in turn 4. A lot of cars stack up. Mark Martin gets turned. Ryan Newman, Martin Truex Jr. also involved.
Oof.
It's just, look at this. Look how close everybody's running. Tony Stewart got off, you know, and like you heard it in Radioactive. Ryan Newman said, I got hit too. And he's right. A lot of times the driver will say that because they don't really understand what happened, but Ryan was exactly right. He barely hit Mark. He got clobbered, and that knocked him back into Mark.
All right, lap 325 now. David Stremme gets turned, and Jimmy Johnson, Casey Kane also involved.
We shouldn't even been up there. I'll be honest with you. We shouldn't have been. And it's just unfortunate. Our car, like I said, our car was really good. And it was just after a caution. And Jimmy was trying to get out of the way. But just like what we talked about, there were race cars everywhere. And the 12, whatever, we got crashed. Darn it.
A lot of cautions late in this race, as there usually is.
Look at Casey Kane.
Jeff Burton in the 31 able to avoid that, and he finishes in the top 5. So good run for him. 48 laps from the end now. Kyle Busch passes Jeff Gordon for the lead.
And
this is what drivers and teams love so much about Richmond. It's a short track. Did you see where Kyle Busch passed Jeff Gordon around the outside? You just don't see that at a normal short track.
I'm telling you, every driver out there needs to go to the Kyle Busch School of Restarts.
What has he found out? It was amazing to watch.
He does it everywhere.
And you know, we talk about Ron Hornaday.
Right.
Ron Hornaday is
king of the restarts.
He's the king. Okay, he gets through the gears fast. But the main thing Ron Hornaday does, after watching him on Speed in the Truck Series for so many years now, he runs the first 2 or 3 laps of a restart like it's the last lap of the race. I see the same thing in Kyle Busch. They just get everything they can possibly get out of their car. You know, look at Friday night. That's exactly what he did it against Carl Edwards Friday night. Carl's as good as there is, and Kyle was just better. So it's really, really like Chad said, it's really something to watch and try to learn from. Try to be a better race car driver by watching what that kid's doing.
Yeah, Carl said after Friday night, he smoked me. He got me. Well, after this, the aforementioned nationwide highlights, including a big mess on the backstretch. And we'll put the weekend in focus. Heyman only broke a few strings on his fiddle. Stick around. We will be right back.
The smart move of the race has been presented by Castrol Edge. Think with your dipstick. Upgrade to new Castrol Edge Advanced Synthetic. Nothing offers better wear and protection. The Monster Mullet has been brought to you by Sprint. For more Sprint Cup Series, go to sprint.com/speed. The Greatest Pit Crew has been presented by Geico, where 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Because we're on the short track, anything can and will happen. It's Richmond, baby. We're going to check this timber. Well, Harold, I don't have a good feeling about this. Don't give up your toolbox. Light the candles and cut the cake. Kyle Busch will win the Crown Royal 400.
Catch NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot from Darlington, Saturday night, 5 p.m. Eastern. We're going to race under the lights, so get ready for the race here on Speed. Well, as we said, Kyle Busch took a broom to the Richmond International Raceway. He won Saturday night, and here's a look at how he did it on Friday night.
See Kyle Busch now jumping to the outside of Carl Edwards.
Boy, Carl knew that was going to happen, and he's just got to...
Yeah, he knew it was coming, but what do you do? I mean, you just got to race him hard right here.
And this is where the top side of that track is so important. Let's see what happens off this turn 4 right now, because this is where the track opens up, and Cal can get away from him. There he goes.
Kyle just made a great pass on Edwards.
Whoa!
Whoa, oh, we got a big pileup on the backstretch now. God.
29 cars in it.
There's Burton around. Burton still hadn't hit anything.
Whoa, now he will come across and tap the inside wall.
Oh, man.
Tonight, Kyle Busch has led 4 times now for 116 laps, and Kyle Busch will come out of turn 4 and get win number 3 in 2009.
Boy, love him or hate him, you got to respect his driving.
We've said it a couple of times, and it's just obvious right there. When Kyle gets ready to do a restart, he will jump to the outside, and he will go through the first 2 corners faster than anybody on the racetrack, and that's what set him up for the win on that race, and just did a fantastic job. He is so determined to win races, and I've never seen a driver so mad to finish second in my life, and it's amazing to watch. It's fun to watch, and you know that was a great event, and I enjoyed watching that nationwide race there.
All right, we're going to move ahead. When we come back, a Darlington preview. The first Darlington race had 73 cars. They started 3 wide. We're going to show it to you. And we've got some emails coming up about what drivers do before the race. Stick around. You're watching Twin. This Week in NASCAR is brought to you by Geico. Well, the very first race at Darlington was back in 1950. That racetrack, the very first paved super speedway for NASCAR. Now, Herschel McGriff drove a car from Portland, Oregon, all the way across country to Darlington, South Carolina, raced that car 500 miles, then drove it all the way back 3,000 miles across the country. Let's take a look back at the very first Southern 500.
In 1950, the Darlington Speedway opened for business. Built on the site of a former South Carolina peanut field, it was NASCAR's first super speedway. The inaugural race was held on September 4th, 1950, and named the Southern 500. More than 15,000 people lined the stands and crowded the infield. 75 cars took the green flag that day. They lined up in 25 rows, 3 abreast. Little-known West Coast open-wheeler Johnny Mance was the last of those. He drove a black Plymouth, often used by Bill France Sr. to run errands, but a car that had never been on a track. At his suggestion, the number 98 car sat atop a set of hard compound truck tires. While his competitors raced in and out of the pits all day replacing blown tires, Madman Mance drove that Plymouth past 74 cars, then 9 laps ahead of them all. For more than 6 hours, the battle raged on in the South Carolina heat. In what would soon become a Labor Day weekend tradition, Mance won his first and only NASCAR race that day, forever earning an honored place in NASCAR's history.
You know, I'm a little curious. How did Herschel McGriff get the word all the way out in Portland, Oregon, that they were going to have a race in South Carolina in time to get there? I'm thinking maybe Thursday or Friday. It might have been on somebody's radar screen, and he would have never made it. That's a cool story, and it's a cool racetrack. And just going there for this Mother's Day weekend, the moms are there hanging out. Everybody's moms come. That's really cool. I love my mom being there. That makes me feel really proud that she cares enough, and all the moms are there to support their kids. And I think the race car drivers and the crew chiefs, teams across the whole pit road, are thinking about their moms during that race, and that's really fun.
Chad, I think Darlington, in addition to that, is about the history of our sport, because it's all there on display. 691 different drivers have raced there. Only 43 can say they've been to victory lane.
Yeah, it's really neat. You know, Danny Emmerich, who used to be our engine tuner, great guy, and he stays back at the shop now and builds engines. He said that we never really won a race until we won Darlington. And it's such a tradition. It's such a man's racetrack. And that goes from everything from the pit crews to the tire changers to the drivers, the spotters, everything, because 500 miles around there is anywhere from 8 to 14 pit stops. It's hot, it's humid, it's miserable, but it's a lot of fun. And then, like Michael said, it's close to home, so you get a lot of mothers, a lot of families, a lot of children, a lot of people come out there to that race. And then we get Sunday off.
And guess what? Striped walls. We're going old school, buddy. Red and white.
I'm looking forward to seeing this, because that's what it used to look like back in the day. How many people remember the coverage from sports, Wild World of Sports?
Yep.
Back when they would sandwich Daryl, Bobby Allison, and Donnie Allison right there racing for the win, maybe 75. They sandwiched that between ping pong and sumo wrestling, if you remember correctly.
Cliff diving from Acapulco.
That's exactly right. So you got to get your taste of NASCAR, but you had to get it in a hurry. Richard Petty coming off turn 4. Look at Dale Earnhardt getting the victory there at Darlington, proving that he was the real deal.
Tell him your Earnhardt story real quick.
Oh, I came off turn 2.
What year?
85. Thank you very much. Most of you people watching weren't alive then. But I came off turn 2, and I was driving my rear end off. There was like 50 laps to go, and I'm so focused. I'm into it. And just as soon as I came off turn 2, a car drove up beside me, and his hand went out the window, went across his car, and he pointed at me. He's like, "You cut me off." That was before we had spotters, Steve. That's when you had to drive your car yourself.
And what were you thinking when he pointed at you?
I thought, if I could just go back to Kentucky right now, I'd be very happy if I could just remove myself from here.
Is there a way to gracefully exit this race?
I just want to go down to turn 3, take a right, and go on back to Owensboro, because I don't want Dale Earnhardt to kick my ass when I get out of my car later.
Sam McQuagg did that in a race, but he went over the guardrail. Different story. Let's take a look at what's coming up here on Speed on Thursday and Friday. NASCAR Classics. And then at Friday, Michael, we just say all in. We just do it all.
We're going to show up at 11 a.m. NASCAR Live, nationwide qualifying. You got the Sprint Cup cars qualifying. Maybe the most exciting lap for a driver during the whole year is one lap of qualifying at Darlington.
You're not going to give me a little love?
NASCAR Performance.
Saturday at 3.
You threw your hand up. I thought you were going to give yourself some love.
3 p.m.
I don't have a problem with that. Give yourself all you want, bro.
Hey, David Pearson's on trackside.
Ooh, that's big.
That's cool.
Up next, a preview of Darlington. Do you remember who won last year's race at the track Too Tough to Tame? We'll reveal the answer. Plus, the Darlington track recently repaved. We'll get Michael and Chad's thoughts on the track now. This Week in NASCAR will be right back.
That's
Southern 500 weather, Michael. Look at that. Hot.
And that's what it's supposed to be. When you think of Darlington, you think of hot and you think of slick. And when you got that kind of temperature, even though it's night, Chad, it's going to be hot and slick.
It's so humid down there, and it's going to be a great race.
88.
That's going to be the hottest race of the year. It's going to be awesome.
Love it. Well, before we get some more input and analysis from Michael and Chad, let's hear from some of the other competitors about racing at the track Too Tough to Tame.
Lady in Black, it's a very tough racetrack and very unforgiving. You know, you cannot make a small mistake at Darlington and get away with it.
I mean, I like Darlington's, one of my favorites because it's unique and it's challenging and it's difficult and you run right next to the wall and it's fast.
The old Darlington was so rough and it was like a cheese grater on the tires.
We're running right at 200 miles an hour into the corner, and the car slides up the racetrack within 2 inches, 3 inches of the wall. And nowhere else do we run that fast, that close to the fence.
Hopefully this year when we go back there, it's going to be more like the old Darlington. And, I heard the last time they paved it, it only took about a year and a half for it to get weathered and be back to the normal, same old Darlington deal. So hopefully that happens again.
Great. Going into that race last year, the pavement was so slick and flat and smooth. It was just like a pool of black water all the way around the racetrack. You could look at a data trace from a car that went around there, and there was absolutely no velocity in the shocks whatsoever. It was an amazing deal. Now, obviously, the track's been sitting for a full year since we've been there. Nobody's really been on it, and I guarantee you in that South Carolina heat and sun, it's bleached it out a little bit. The track used to be very, very coarse. You could see the rocks, the jagged edge is just sticking up outside of the asphalt tar in the middle of it. Last year, if you laid a piece of paper down on the racetrack, it wouldn't even have punctured it. It was just perfectly smooth. So it'll be interesting to see how much it's changed since last year.
And well over 200 miles an hour down into turn 1 at Darlington qualifying. Who would have thought that? I liked when I got there last year and saw how smooth it was, but I knew it was going to be fast and sticky. I think all the drivers will be relieved a little bit if we get down there next week or this weekend and it's a little bit bleached out. When it bleaches out, when it's not as black, that means it's lost some grip. And it'll be the same old tough Darlington, but you won't have to go over 200 miles an hour maybe down in the corner. Now, some guys like that. Who won last year? Kyle Busch.
Let's see, Kyle Busch.
Well, but speaking of,
the Biff actually was very fast there last year and had mechanical issues. He was.
Do you remember that save he made down there last year?
Amazing. Got booted right in the back by the 18 car.
Watch this save.
It's awesome.
We're going to have it right here on speed.
Coming to you.
I think. No?
Go. Last year, Kyle Busch.
They've repainted in the overnight hours beautiful, pristine white. It will never last. Just about every one of these cars will have a Darlington stripe.
Toughest people gonna survive, so you gotta stay strong, okay?
We're gonna have some fun tonight here at Darlington. Here they come, down to the line. Green is in the air.
You're only a couple tenths off there. You'd run a 28.50s, I think, is what you were running there.
Grandstands come to their feet as Dale Earnhardt Jr. takes the race. Coming trouble. Ollie and Sadler. Tony Stewart tangle in turn number 2.
Took it down. Digger, mother. Stay low. Come on to the bottom. All clear. Good job. Oh, yeah, these cars are great. Wonderful. Love them. Love them to death.
Kyle Busch, one of those drivers that will get on top of the wheel, but Greg Biffle will do the same thing.
Get tighter, Erwin. Tighter. Gotcha.
Turn 2, Greg Biffle gets tagged and he saves it. He got bumped from behind by Kyle Busch.
I don't know what happened to the brakes, but these things feel like super speedway brakes. I can't stop at all. Be smooth here, but no pressure. I think the 18's having some brake problems. Just be patient. Man, go get those 2. Get by those guys and you'll be a lot faster. Like I say, these guys must suck ahead of us, because it's the tightest I've been all night. Really hurt rear grids, guys. It really hurts the rear grids, and it turns worse. All right, 10-4, keep plugging away. It wasn't much of a change, but we'll go back on it and do something better.
Can't believe that Kyle Busch has put that car in the wall. Oh, man, he has really been slinging it in there.
Got to turn better, but I got to have the track bar down. I'm losing too much rear side by late exit. Settle in, man. Find that rhythm again. Feels like it's coming loose, Erwin. Guys, you're going to have to learn when it comes loose. You got to stay on it for a long time. That's far if we want to finish. We need to finish. Don't need to worry about him. Be patient. Tight. I work on race to get the lead, and I get it taken away every time. Your position is to drive. Just stay calm.
He'll be in the news this week for winning at Darlington Raceway. Kyle Busch gets the victory.
I can't tell you how proud of you guys I am. I appreciate all the hard work, everything you guys do. Awesome job, dude.
If you can't get excited about a race like what we're going to see this weekend,
look at his hair.
I've been struggling with my hair today. I mean, the There, that looks better. If you can't get excited about what you're going to see this weekend at Darlington, don't try to even watch a cup race because it's all going to be there. Speed, right next to the wall, competition, tradition, history, and it's Mother's Day.
It's the total package. When we come back, fewer emails. Have you ever wondered about air guns used by tire changers? Question about that is next. Stick around. This Week in NASCAR is brought to you by Geico.
15 minutes can save you 15%.
Good job, Michael. If you want this picture of Kyle Busch, go to speedtv.com, click the show's tab at the top, go to the This Week in NASCAR page, and you'll see a link at the bottom of the page to email us. Put combos in the subject line, and you're entered to win. Be sure to put your shipping address in the email. The winner will be revealed next week. The Brad Keselowski picture went to Minnesota. Time now for the Z-Max Fuel for Thought email segment. Michael takes question number 1. Even though he has a 1-pack, and he doesn't eat that much anymore, what do drivers eat before a race?
I think it depends on the individual, but I enjoy pasta. I love Benito is my motorhome driver. He's like the best. Yeah, he's very European, very chic, and he cooks well. He makes me pasta with chicken. I love turkey sandwiches too, a bagel with turkey sandwich. That's me. I don't know about all the other cats, but it's probably something pretty mild. You wouldn't want to eat tacos.
So you're going with protein and complex carbs. I get it.
I do.
I get it. I see what you're doing.
And you know where it's all led to? A 1-pack app.
1-pack. I see where you're going. Our second email question is for Mr. Canals. What type of air guns and what is the amount of PSI used for a race?
You know, I'd say probably up and down pit road, the majority of the guns are Ingersoll Rand guns, just like what you see are with the big IR symbol on them. And they've just been weathered throughout the years and tried and true, and I think that's why a lot of people stick with them. There's some other manufacturers out there trying to break in and do some different things, but that's probably the consistent one. And as far as air pressure, everybody does it just a little bit different. Back when I was changing tires, the guns could only handle about 80 PSI before they started to vibrate. Well, they've worked on the guns so much now, you can get all the way up to 110, 115 PSI, and they don't even wiggle hardly. So it's kind of up to the changer to run what he wants, but I'd say most people are probably about 100 PSI nowadays.
Well, hey, want to remind you tonight on Supercars Exposed, our friend Tanner Faust heads to the Texas Mile in pursuit of a 200-plus mile-an-hour run in some of the fastest, rarest, and most exotic sports cars available. You won't want to miss the premiere of this all-new episode, and that's coming up next here on Speed. Chad Knaus will be watching.
This Week in NASCAR is presented by Geico, where 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And brought to you in part by AutoZone, because do it yourself doesn't mean you have to do it alone. Get in the zone, AutoZone.
The 1993 All-Star race came down a duel in the final laps between two big stars. Now, Mark Martin led 9 of the final 10 laps, but a late race caution set up a wild dash for the cash.
We did dominate that race, and I thought we had it won.
Trouble. Turn 4, it's Terry Labonte, and Elliott can't avoid him. Caution flag with the white flag, and Mark Martin is 12 car lengths in front of Dale Earnhardt.
Terry Labonte's engine blew, and they threw a caution on the white flag lap, which should have been, I thought, was over.
The caution flag came out on the 9th lap of the race. And according to the rules, they go back to the last completed lap.
He restarted on the outside of me and managed to get ahead of me. I just couldn't stay ahead of him.
They are dead even going into turn 3. Earnhardt to the front. What a dive into the corner. Mark Martin has a look at him, but Dale Earnhardt will collect $215,000 for his 3rd victory in the Winston.
Feels like that. The fastest car doesn't always win. And he beat me. I don't have an excuse.
Neil, that was gutsy determination, is all that was.
Celebrating 25 years of All-Star memories. Don't miss the NASCAR Sprint All-Star Race on Speed, Saturday, May 16th, 7 p.m. Eastern. NASCAR on Speed. Be there.
Go to speedtv.com every day from now until May 16th to register for a grand prize of $25,000. Visit daily for a chance to win $250. Catch the race, catch the cash during the Sprint All-Star Race. Visit speedtv.com for more. Michael, final thoughts?
I'm still running them good brake pads. Active one, adaptive one. Got them
See you in Darlington, everybody.
Got them in my car.